Classical Conversation, Cycle 3, Week 2 art, which is Symmetry. And so this week we're actually doing a much bigger piece, but it doesn't involve as much coloring or painting, but a lot of cutting. So I wanted to show you the finished product first, and this is a skeleton that we're going to cut out and paste. But the body of the skeleton is going to be made up of each child's individual name. And if you notice, if you can look closely, this is actually the name Cademan, and it is in cursive. So I know the little guys haven't learned cursive yet, or maybe even the older guys haven't, but it would be like just something that they could practice with, tracing. And so everyone's middle part of their skeleton is going to look slightly different. And instead of doing this one, I just did the first name, but I did go ahead and do first and last name for all the students. So the actual font is going to be a little bit smaller, but they're going to have, like, Cademan's will say Cademan Rayner, and it's going to be about the same size because I did it about this sheet, about the width of a sheet of paper. So let me just talk you through some of the steps, and we can go from there. So mirror images is on page 82 of your foundations guide. They're describing a lesson that they're doing, which we're not going to be doing, but it does have in the naming section just a little bit more about what a mirror image is. And of course, we can spend time talking about looking around the room. What do you see as being a mirror image or a symmetrical image? And then there's a worksheet that's going to be passed out, actually 2 of them. If your little guy's class only you feel like can do one, that's totally fine. This is one where you're drawing a line and a symmetry down each of the shapes where it would end up being symmetrical on each side. So that one takes a little bit more thinking, and maybe for the older guys' classes. And this is one where you're just trying to make the mirrored image of the shape on the opposite side of the dotted line. So that'll be your starting one, and you don't have to spend a lot of time on this. So one of the best examples of symmetry is what our science has for this week, which is the axial skeleton. And so everyone's going to get a printout of this sheet, and there is going to be a lot of cutting involved. But this is a really good example of how God has given us all symmetry, and the human body has tons of symmetry. So you could spend some time talking about that and what the kids notice, like both with our faces and of course our bones underneath, and that all of this is symmetrical. So we're going to take the time cutting these pieces out. Little guys class, we might try to go ahead and pre-cut yours, but this will take up some definite time. Okay, here's an example of one of the names printed out, and we're going to fold it where there's a crease going down the middle. And so you're going to want room on this side because it's going to create a mirrored effect when we cut it out. So like for Riley's name, I folded it right on the bottom of her name. So when we cut, we really want to try to get following the actual contour of her name. So like on this little A, I might go in a little bit more, or on this C. Make sure I get that height on some of those taller letters, so that when we do end up opening it up, it's going to have a mirrored image. And this is going to be the middle of our skeleton. That kind of is supposed to try to mimic the ribs and the bones and all that. Now for the older guys, if they really want to go the extra mile, they can go in and snip like even up in those little parts, like that H, or up in the little C part if they want to. I know the younger guys, this will be a lot harder, but what that's going to make is some extra cool little details towards the middle part of their skeleton. Once that's fully cut out, which I haven't done the whole thing as detailed as I have done this one, we're going to open it up, obviously, and then they're going to glue it right in the middle of their paper. And once we get all the skeleton pieces cut out as well, they're going to assemble it symmetrically. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect because our bones are symmetrical, so that alone is enough. But the skeleton probably is going to have to be a little bit squished. Like, I don't think that his legs can actually fully extend out just because the paper is not big enough. So we're going to take some time to glue him on with the glue stick. And then at the very end, they can pick just a color that's provided for them and kind of outline the shape of their skeleton, just to add some color to the art piece and to add a little bit more interest since it's only black and white. Okay, so that's it this week. You're going to have worksheets You're going to have a printout of the skeleton. Little guys class will hopefully, especially the 4-year-olds, have that already cut out for you. You're going to have scissors and glue, and really just explaining and taking the time to show them how to cut is going to take a little bit of time too. So lots of cutting, lots of pasting this week, and then outlining. And that's it. What a great example of symmetry with a week that already lines up with our axial skeleton. Let me know if you have any questions.